Let's do this, everyone. Morning. How's it going? Not in the best of moods. Woke up maybe an hour ago. Couldn't get back to sleep, so hey, here I am. Once again, a river unto the people. Delivering the kind of content that you like. So hey, mean a lot if you'd subscribe. Anywho, hey, good day, good morning. My name's Louis Vuitton. I'm an Australian streamer. I do politics on YouTube and Twitch. I do prepared content over on YouTube. Stream at this time of, around about this time of day for the Americans, and in the evening my time for the Australians. So, let me open up the stream by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land from which I'm coming to you live from, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and welcome any and all Indigenous people joining us today. God, I sound flat. Alright. Should have made a coffee. We'll see. I might make one at some stage, try and bring up the energy. But yeah. Every stream I always want to say in my head, like, we have a fun stream planned for you today. But then again, nothing I do here is ever fun. It's always pain, and today is no exception. So yeah, we've got some pain coming through. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll just chill for a minute. And put it off a little longer. Anyway, so yeah, streaming on YouTube and Twitch. The chat that appears on screen is the Twitch chat. Don't worry about plebeian YouTube chat. There's also a Discord server that you can join. The link's in the description. And there's also a link to Streamlabs if you're feeling so generous. It would be nice to be able to supplement, or to really rely on streaming as an income source, because I am currently trying to find a wage slave job in between working full time. I really would not like to. I really would prefer to devote that time to streaming. But hey, only you can make that happen. But anyway, if today's the first time watching, no pressure just yet. Take a look at what we cover, and then make up your mind. If you do like the content, then hey, make sure to follow, subscribe on YouTube, and if you have some extra money, chuck it my way, please. Man, this sucks. When I first started streaming, I would get up and stream earlier than this. This feels like a throwback to that. I'd get up at like 4 a.m. to start streaming at 5, but like, I just can't live like that. Oh well. Anyway, I can feel my energy coming up a bit more. I've already had a shower, so I should be pretty awake. But hey, I love streaming, so here I am. And we need more Australian streamers. Political streamers. We don't have any big political content creators in Australia. Well, I mean, we do. We don't have any big left-wing political content creators in Australia. Um, the right dominates the online content creation scene over here. So, hey, you can fix that by chucking us up my way. But yeah, we're working on it. We've got some up-and-comers. There's a couple of good ones out there, but their followers really only number in the thousands, or the tens of thousands at most. But hey, we're working on it. Got to break into that American audience, which means you got to stream it this time in the morning. Ugh. What a pain. Excuse me. It's still not even 6 a.m. here, so you have to bear with me. Alright, what's going on in the world? So let's at least start talking about what I've got here. I don't have any more bullshit to vamp about. Or do I? No, I don't. I got nothing. Let's see. Now this is still under a week old. Alright, so I'm sure you've all heard about this. From the ACLU, Arkansas has become the first state to ban healthcare for trans youth. Very cool liberal democracy, America. HB 1570 was just passed through both chambers in the Arkansas legislature, banning trans youth from accessing healthcare and health insurance coverage that we deserve and need. Our rights and lives are under attack. Governor Hutchinson must veto this bill. Wow, Arkansas really going for that worst state prize. I mean, it's right up there. Mississippi and Alabama. They're really giving it their all. Man, I'd hate to be one of the staff in the ACLU. Well, actually, probably really fulfilling work, but I'd hate to be someone that runs their social media, making posts like this, and then just having the replies filled with fuckers that never gonna look at any kind of scientific data. This bill doesn't ban healthcare for anyone. Your headline is libel. No, actually, it does. It's giving doctors the authority to deny trans-specific healthcare for trans individuals. Louis Vuitton, would you ever date a trans person? I have dated a trans person, and let me tell you, it's virtually no different than dating a cis person. Actually, well, there is like one, but this is so crass. I'm sorry, this is so crass, but a big advantage of dating a trans woman is if you're seeing her regularly and you're not seeing anyone else, like both of you. If you're in like a monogamous either relationship or like dating monogamously, like, you know, towards with the end goal of like getting into a relationship, then you don't need to worry about protection. I mean, why would you bother? If you're both clean, you're not seeing anyone else, there's no risk of pregnancy. fucking win. But yeah, I've dated both cis and trans people, and let me tell you, there's not much difference. I mean, everyone's different as an individual, but between those demographics, it's really not that different. Healthcare should never cover cosmetic surgeries. As someone who pays for health insurance, I do not want a penny of that money going towards some mentally ill teenagers' fantasy surgeries or hormone medication, which leads to more health complications the rest of their lives. I see. The transgender understander has logged on. Motherfucker. No one's giving surgeries to teenagers. But hey, we're going to be looking at that in a little bit. In fact, no one's even giving hormones to teenagers unless they're over 18. No, children only get on puberty blockers. Fuck me, like, how many times do we need to tell this to people? Like, I feel unless you take each individual person and just sit them down and explain it to them, they're not going to think otherwise. I am a plastic surgeon. Removing the breasts of teenage minors is nothing short of malpractice, and any surgeon doing this better get ready for future lawsuits. Sure. Well, if you're really a plastic surgeon, you would know that nobody's removing the breasts of teenagers. I think you might be lying, mate. As a physician who trained in Arkansas, this angers me, but doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Hashtag trans rights are human rights. Thanks, friend. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Denying necessary healthcare to a political minority is by definition genocide. I'd probably have to look at the definition of genocide, but I'd be inclined to agree. So what happens to a 3-year-old girl experiencing early puberty? Does she deserve to have her growth stunted because someone's afraid that a trans male to female will take their daughter's place on a sports team or wants to use a restroom when they're most comfortable? Very true. I mean, does this include blocking access to hormone blockers for people that go through puberty early? It was one of the original functions of hormone blockers. How is this even legal? I mean, good question, my friend. Lila Rose. Who's this tick? Oh. Oh. Fight for children. Fight for families. Yeah, sure. Puberty blockers for prepubescent youth, mastectomies on teenage girls, healthy breasts, and castration on young boys is not healthcare. It's insane we have to do this. This isn't care, it's malpractice. No healthcare has been banned whatsoever. Fix your blatant misinformation. Fix yours, you ugly cunt! Dickhead. What is, like, puberty blockers for prepubescent... I suppose, like, before you start puberty, you get on puberty blockers, but no one's giving puberty blockers to 5-year-olds. And all this shit, such a fucking liar. Just to clarify, because this seems so unimaginably callous and evil, trans youth can't go to the ER for a broken wrist to receive treatment or get a dental... No, you fool. It's specific to trans healthcare. Like, if they have a fucking broken leg, they can still get treatment for that. So wrong. People do not choose their sexual orientation. We're not talking about sexual orientation, for Christ's sake. So, wow. Good job, Arkansas. Arkansas? I don't know. Little shitters. Jesus Christ. What about you, Death Priest? Would you ever date a trans person? I can promise you it's not that different. In fact, it's not, like the difference is, like, to the point where it's basically just, like, the differences that you would encounter between dating individuals. Like, everyone's got problems, everyone's got issues, everyone's got quirks that are specific to them. Like, the difference between dating a trans person and dating a cis person are like that small that amount to like those individual differences you encounter between dating individual people. So I think tomorrow, I believe it's tomorrow, is the last day that the governor of Arkansas can veto this bill. I think it's tomorrow. They haven't yet, and knowing Arkansas, not sure if they will. And this isn't like the only bill of its kind. There's like a dozen out there at the moment that are working on this exact same thing. Arkansas is just the first one that's put it through. Also, this is the same week that Rachel Levine was the first transgender person to be made a federal government official. So that's cool, America. I'm glad to see that you're coming through on one end, and on the other, just business as usual. In fact, like, wait, let me find the meme. Shit makes me so fucking sick. So mad. This kind of shit kills children. It is so disgusting. It makes me so goddamn mad. These people pretend like they're out here caring for kids when they're just really out here. Here we go. Sorry, out here because they're disgusted. I'm sure you've all seen Pinkwug. If you haven't, go follow Pinkwug on Twitter. We shouldn't normalize an illness. It's a social contagion. It's a lifestyle. Exclusion by feminists. Locker room panic. Weaponized suicide statistics. The trans agenda. Wait a minute. It's all recycled bigotry? Always has been. Go like Pinkwug on Twitter. They do good stuff. And yeah, it's the same shit. Same goddamn crap. Year after year. I was ranting about this on stream the other night. I was doing an Australian stream and I was talking about this far-right Australian party called Australia One. And I was reading their policy shit. And it was talking, crap like restricting immigration, like preventing same-sex couples from adopting, like writing into law, like codifying into law that there's only two genders and they're based on biology, like changing the law so that same-sex couples can't be married, all this shit. Yeah, evil characters. These are the evil characters I'm talking about. Like, mate, like, I'm going to be looking at a fucking PragerU video starring Abigail Schreier a little bit. So you bet there's some evil fucking characters. People are monsters. So I feel that evil characters tag is perfectly justified. Oh god. What am I going to enjoy? It's PragerU. Oh, far out, man. Alright, like if you put the link in, I'll take a look at it. But anyway, this Australia One party. I was talking about how it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same conservatives. It's the same goddamn agenda. Like, it's all the same fucking fear-mongering moral panic. And honestly, it is the same shit that we saw about marriage equality. This video may be inappropriate for some users. Uh-oh. Let me just mute that. Is this like a parody? Alright, well, let me see. A nice fireside chat of Dennis and his Prager pals. Alright, we'll watch it in a minute. Let me just finish this point. Yeah. Like, it's the same goddamn bigotry, the same goddamn moral panic. It's the same argument that we saw. Hey, thanks for following. It's the same goddamn argument we saw way back when same-sex couples wanted to get married. The same shit about when black people wanted rights. Same thing when women wanted autonomy. Same thing when women wanted the vote. It's the same goddamn bigotry all the way back until the Age of Enlightenment. We might save the PragerU meme until after we've watched the Schreier video, so we can have that as like a palate cleanser, because, oh man, that woman. And speaking of that woman and her influence, where are we? They have lasting effects. Speech has consequences. Now, this was something I can't remember. Oh no, that's right. Ben Shapiro retweeted somebody who retweeted this, and then I also saw Abigail Schreier retweeting this as well. They may always have power, but they always lose it. Oh, they cause a whole lot of harm along the way. We are delighted to announce the public launch of Parents Defending Education, a national, non-partisan group that will build a grassroots army of parents to begin reclaiming our K-12 schools from political activists and extremists. That doesn't sound partisan. No, not at all. Let's read through the thread and then we'll take it apart. We believe in some basic principles shared by overwhelming majority in the US, but that are under attack from leaders of many schools. Education should be based on scholarship and facts. It should encourage our kids' development into happy, resilient, free-thinking citizens. Education should prepare our kids for life in America, a Western democracy with unique values and traditions, not for a life of blind obedience to radical, ever-changing social justice causes and toxic identity politics. Non-partisan, by the way. Let us be clear, wokeism is an attack not just on our kids' education, but on their psychological health. It seeks to make them angry, confused, emotional, contemptuous of their community and society, and unable to use logic and reason. Wokeism will turn our kids into failures. This attack on our children takes many forms. The cult of anti-racism, which demands they feel either shame and guilt or resentment and bitterness, depending on which racial category they are assigned, and tells kids they are racists if they don't obey. Equity, which demands aggressive and illegal racial discrimination against Asians and whites. Action civics, which trains young kids to think and act like radical activists rather than curious learners, and so on. We know what the problem is, but Parents Defending Education is here to pursue solutions. First, we must empower each other, join our efforts, become part of our network, learn about this dangerous new attack on our schools and society, and get organized for the fight ahead. Second, we must engage. We have to get involved in our schools, many of which are going off the rails and need oversight from the majority that opposes indoctrination and extremism masquerading as education. PDE will show you how to get involved at the local and state level. Jesus Christ, how long does this go on for? Third, we have to expose the activists in our school like to operate behind a fog of woke slogans. In reality, many schools are spending enormously your money on equity and inclusion consultants, professional development trainings, and the like. PDE is using FOIA filing. Wait, is it Freedom of Information? I don't know what FOIA is. For investigative research and other tools to expose what schools are doing and the extremists behind it. We file civil rights complaints and litigate against schools that have forgotten our country's civil rights laws apply to them. Finally, what cannot be achieved through existing channels will be accomplished through new measures such as state-level legislation enacting serious reforms. Much more on this soon. Our schools are not owned by teachers, principals, or political activists. They are funded by we, the people, and they are supposed to help strengthen our communities, not tear them apart. Schools have abandoned their obligations to their communities. Schools have abandoned their obligations to their communities and will be challenged. If you share our belief that the recent trend of political extremism and indoctrination being embraced by many schools threatens our children's well-being and our society, it's time to get started. Please join us by clicking here. What a load of shit. What a load of unhinged nonsense. Sounds like unironic fake centrism. Yes, it does. But yeah, they weren't really able to keep up that facade of centrism. I mean, I really don't believe there's such a thing as a centrist. An overwhelming majority, I don't think 60% of America can agree that air is good. I don't think 60% of America would agree that air is a human right. Jeez, I thought they'd be slightly better at hiding it. Mate, they're terrible at hiding it. Like, these people, like, I don't know if any of you watched the, Hippy Dippy Rumble last night, with, like, tons of people, but fucking iHypocrite and Tyler Bateman were two of the conservatives that were on the panel, and they were both kicked because they couldn't hold it in. They couldn't hide it. Tyler wouldn't fucking shut up with his transphobia and doubled down on it and got kicked. iHypocrite tried to sneak in the N-word when someone else was talking, and then when he was called out on it, he just went out, like, came out and said it again and was immediately kicked. Like, these people can't hide it. They hide behind this veneer of intelligence. When it comes down to it, they're just frothing racists, transphobes, bigots, or whatever minority it is they hate. Gotta love how the Repubs be using Asians as ammo to promote white supremacy while also being more racist to them since the fucking 40s. I mean, like, the thing about, like a weaponizing of the American Asian population, like, first of all, you're right, like, they don't care about the Asian population. Secondly, like, it's so racist to begin with because you're obfuscating the racism that's directed at other minorities. And it's funny that you only cared about the Asian population. Sorry, you didn't care about the Asian population until people started talking about, like, hey, it's systemic racism against black people. So I guess systemic racism exists, but it's towards Asian and white people. Asians ain't white, or else they wouldn't be blamed for COVID. Kind of funny, especially considering how PragerU and such have begun infiltrating red state schools. Yeah, like shit, like this, which we'll watch in a sec. Like, that could be very well shown in a school. In my opinion, the main way to define a minority is by how they're treated globally. Not really. Republicans say the Irish are black. That is weird victim complex. I mean, it depends. Like the Asian community in America is really diverse wealth wise. Like on the lower end, Asian Americans make up some of like the poorest communities. I remember seeing something on Twitter a week or so ago, or a couple of weeks back, talking about the Asian population in New York City and about how a lot of them live in like basically poverty. People will have like the idea of the moral minority in their head when it comes to Asians in America, but really, it's just not true. There's not like every Asian in America is just doing fantastic. The Irish have been oppressed. I've misread that as never been oppressed. I was about to like, hang on. So yes, the Irish have been oppressed, but they're not currently oppressed for the most part. I mean, I don't know. I would like to see a united, independent Ireland. Fuck the English. Like, come on, mate. Like, if the Irish and Scottish could just stop fighting for 5 minutes, then England wouldn't stand a chance. I mean, people in Scotland there is people in Scotland that want independence, even though they voted no the last was it a referendum? So hey, I would love to see a united Ireland and an independent Ireland and independent Scotland. Okay. Let's break this down a little bit. So, Parents Defending Education, a national non-partisan group that will build a grassroots army of parents. To begin with, can you imagine that? Like, imagine you're a teacher and you just hear this, like, rumbling outside, and you look out the window, and coming down the street is just this army of white parents. Oh my god, that'd be terrifying. Okay, so, I mean, parents have a place in schooling, absolutely. But parents don't know best. Non-partisan, well, as we've already read through, it is quite partisan. It's just about recognizing that a lot of different people have different backgrounds, and that Asian is just a vague label. Like people whose ancestors were Chinese slaves working on the railroads have a different living condition than rich Chinese students. I mean, like, not like the actual continent of Asia is really diverse. Like, Asian is so vague. Like, a Vietnamese immigrant coming to America is going to be starting off in a very different position than a South Korean immigrant or a Japanese immigrant. People perceived as Asian are the ones being blamed for COVID in public. I mean, like, yeah, like, it doesn't matter if you're Chinese or not. It doesn't, like, you could be American. Like, your ancestry could be Chinese. Not even Chinese, just Asian. And people just would still blame you for COVID. Where I live right next to my uni, so there's a lot of students that live in this area, a lot of international students. And there were some assaults going on just around the corner. Yeah, exactly. They don't care. Alright, we believe in some basic principles shared by overwhelming majority in the US. So, what basic principles would they be? Regardless, it doesn't matter, because common sense, but this is not only appeal to popularity, but appeal to common sense. And common sense is an anti-intellectual concept. Common sense is a fallacious argument. Just because a lot of people hold an opinion doesn't make it right. And this overwhelming majority, these people are always out here trying to convince us that they're the majority. I'm sorry. You are one of the most vocal minorities in the world, in the developed world. It's not common for a racist to go, I specifically hate Cubans. Really? Oh, yeah, true. It usually extends to all Hispanics. Exactly. Don't think about it. It's common sense. Like, that's the answer. Like, if you went back and asked people, like, say, 600 years ago, oh, how do you know that God created the earth? They'd just be like, if they didn't give you a religious answer, they'd just fall back on common sense. Like, that would be their response. They wouldn't have an answer. It would just be, oh, like, of course he did. Everyone knows that. But that are under attack from leaders of many schools. Education should be based on scholarship and facts. It should encourage our kids' development to happy, resilient, free-thinking citizens. So the implication is that school is currently not based on facts, but some kind of woke misinformation. This is weird. Education should prepare our kids for life in America. Well, it kind of already does. I mean, American schools tend to be a little bit indoctrination-y. A Western democracy of unique values and traditions. I mean, one of the values of Western democracy is the right to vote, justice, the right to civil liberties. You're not doing so well on that front, America. Not for a life of blind obedience to radical, ever-changing social justice causes and toxic identity politics. Now they're going a little bit mask off. I haven't actually gone through years of critical thinking courses in college. I can tell you that Ben Shapiro is very, very bad at arguing. Like, I know, like, this is the thing. Like, Ben Shapiro especially just talks fast and, like, he sounds smart. But, like, the shit that he says is really dumb. Like, the thing about all this stuff, like, week 2 of, like, Ben Shapiro would lose in a debate to a year 1 sociology student. Like, a sociology student that's done, like, a few weeks of their first year. Like, if they were, like, on an even playing field, he would lose in that debate. Like, his shit is that simple. Why are you guys segregationists? Well, people living with their kindest common sense. Exactly. That's the thing. It's an anti-intellectual concept. It's designed not to make you think about why. Unique, you mean using inches, miles, and other BS? Yeah, true. That's a unique American value. Hot take, Ben Shapiro fits the SJW archetype, but just happens to be conservative and racist. Yeah. Like, oh, that's what I was going to pull for this stream. Fuck. I knew there was one other thing. Fuck, hang on, where's... Let me just turn this off for a second, and I'll come back on. I forgot there was one other thing that I was going to pull. Oh, don't let this crash the stream. Ugh. Where is it? I wanted to pull something from Matt Walsh. Which, I know, like, oh, here we go. What, is it really this long? Oh, no, that's something else. Okay. Also, sorry to do this to you all for exposing you to Matt Walsh, because he's horrible. Alright, you were mentioning the SJW archetype reminded me of that. Because like Matt Walsh gets so triggered in this clip. Oh, was that it? Was that the link? Oh shit! Oh, I got it. Please don't overestimate first years. Like, I don't. Seriously. So like that much. Like sociology year one is covered that much. Nothing is more funny than seeing a bunch of adult conservatives getting triggered and screeching about shows with women and black people in it. It's political when it's not white straight men. I mean, like literally, that Matt Walsh video is 100% that. All right. Let us be clear. Wokeism is an attack not just on our kids' education, but on their psychological health. Wokeism. What is wokeism? Define wokeism. I wish I could get a conservative alone. Like, not just, like, offline, but I mean, like, online. Because define wokeism. Is wokeism just progressivism? Like, is this the thing? Is this, like, replacing these words? Because, like, oh, being progressive isn't a bad thing. But when it's wokeism, an attack on our kids' education and their psychological health. Well, no, it's actually serving to improve their health. It seeks to make them angry, confused, emotional, contemptuous of their community and society, and unable to use logic and reason. No, that's you. That's projection. That is you who is angry, confused, and emotional. Not the children. You're the one that's confused. That is some strong projection there, my friends. Wokeism will turn our kids into failures. No, wokeism will turn them into empathetic citizens. If you can understand people that are different from you, then you can empathize with them. If kids are made aware, like, hey, some people are a little bit different from you, that'll actually make them into good people. Did you see this clip? It's a gotcha moment. In their minds... Oh, alright, let's take a look. Oh, fuck, what am I doing? Let's see. Ha ha. Alright, very funny. Don't clip that. In their minds, wokeism is probably virtue seeking about overblown issues. I mean, I feel like a wokeism is more just like an attempt to obfuscate what the point is. The point is advocating for civil rights and... Well, advocating for civil rights and equality and justice based on empirically demonstrated inequality. But, oh, fuck me. Oh no. Oh no, it's my phone that stopped working, not the stream. Okay, thank Christ. Oh no, it's back up again. Okay. Yeah, I just feel like, oh my god, what am I doing? Wokeism is just a term just meant to bury the lead. To stop you thinking about it. Like, it's just a buzzword. Like, that's the thing. Like, conservatives, like, are just filled with buzzwords. They're basically just sleeper cells. They hear a particular thing and their mind just switches off. They don't need to engage with the argument. They just switch off. Like, pronouns in bio is such a classic one. Like, pronouns in bio, click, brain off. Don't need to take notice of anything you say. Anything you say, I can just dismiss it outright. Pronouns in bio, opinion discarded. Like, it's hilarious that anybody on the right would ever accuse the left of engaging in groupthink, given the amount of groupthink that conservatives engage in. Like, they just switch their minds off. This attack on our children takes many forms. The cult of anti-racism. Damn, I didn't realize that it was a bad thing to be anti-racist. It's the same thing about people when they say and talk about Antifa. Like, wow, I didn't realize that being anti-fascist was a bad thing. Which demands they either feel shame and guilt, or resentment and bitterness, depending on which racial category they are assigned. They're assigned. Oh, so are you admitting that race is a social construct? That'd be nice. I'm white. I don't feel shame or guilt. I never will. I'm very happy to acknowledge systemic inequality and take steps to addressing that. I don't feel shame or guilt, and you shouldn't either. Yeah. I'm not gonna apologize for being white, but I'm certainly very willing to take steps to address systemic inequality. And tells kids they are racists if they don't obey. Well, if you don't admit to the existence of systemic racism and you're not willing to take steps to address that, you might just be a racist. Not feeling shame, so you're saying it's okay to be white? Oh, damn it. Cancel me now, alright? Equity, which demands aggressive and illegal racial discrimination against Asians and whites. Show me where a white person's being discriminated against. Oh, wait. Are people racist against white people? Yes. Is it on a systemic level? No. Like, these people out here wringing their hands over racism towards white people, and I'm sorry, but it's only on an individual scale. There is no systemic oppression of white people. Like, Sydney Watson is an Australian-American conservative, and I swear to God, she is like, she is this close to going like Lauren Southern level. She so desperately wants to say that she's proud to be white. She hates black pride, and she hates that she can't be proud about being white. Get over it. Action Civics, which trains young kids to think and act like radical activists rather than curious learners. I don't know what Action Civics is. Never heard about that. And education tends to get people, young people, into being activists anyway. I mean, you could have said this same shit back in the 60s, like, ugh, this idea of desegregation, it's indoctrinating our children rather than making them curious learners. Oh, it's almost as if it's all recycled bigotry, and it always has been. We know what the problem is, but Parents Defending Education is here to pursue solutions. First, we must empower each other. That's kind of cringe. Empower each other. Just imagining a bunch of racist and transphobic white people in a room together. Join our effort and become part of our network. Learn about this dangerous new attack on our schools and society. Get organized for the fight ahead. Ugh. Second, we must engage. We have to get involved in our schools, many of which are going off the rails and need oversight from the majority, not the majority, that opposes indoctrination and extremism masquerading as education. I mean, you are a majority in a political sense. Like, the conservatives should not have anywhere near the political power they do in America. PDE will show you how to get involved at the local and state level. Third, we have to expose the activists in our schools like to operate behind a fog of woke slogans. A fog of woke slogans. Yeah, like Black Lives Matter. That's such an offensive title, right? I mean, saying that the lives of black people matter. Wow. So horrible. So offensive. In reality, many schools are spending enormously your money on equity and inclusion consultants, professional development trainings, and the like. Yeah, they kind of have to. They have to keep teachers up with the times. PDE is using freedom of information, I assume, filings, investigative research, and other tools to expose what schools are doing and the extremists behind it. We file civil rights complaints. Well, you're the ones attacking civil rights. And litigate against schools that have forgotten our country's civil rights and civil rights laws apply to them. We just saw, like, this is the civil rights under attack. Oh my god. Like, just, I can't imagine being this much of a victim. How many followers have they got? Oh, okay, they're actually pretty small. I thought they were bigger. Oh yeah, I've been out here for a while. Ugh. Every person in America can play a part. No effort is too small. Send us a tip. Share an article with a friend. Ask yourself questions if you're not comfortable with certain subject matter. And if you're dissatisfied with those answers, then escalate your concerns. Join our existing parent organization, or if one doesn't exist, you consider starting your own. We're building an army of Davids. Oh, that's telling. That's telling. Interesting. There wasn't any mention of religion throughout that thread. What a surprise that there'd be a religious motive. Have they mentioned Marxism here? No. Okay. Well, that's horrible. Well, I didn't realize that they didn't have that much of a following. Not followed by anyone you're following. Damn. Can't even be championed by Ben Shapiro or Schreier. The issue I hear in America is that schools are not allowing discourse on these issues. That is a problem which many use to justify using the terminology indoctrination. Like, how do you address somebody that has, like, that's where their mindset's coming from? Like, imagine if someone got up and said in a school, like, which this could probably happen in America, but imagine if, like, a physics teacher stood up in front of the classroom and talked about how climate change isn't real. Or, like, some history professor got up and started talking about, like, the Holocaust and saying that it didn't happen, or the facts that we have aren't accurate. Like, this is tantamount to that. It's empirically demonstrated that systemic racism exists. We have so much scientific data about trans people validating their existence. Like, with these people, I really don't feel like they can be reached. A lot of leftist content creators online talk about countering Trumpism and, like, how do we fix this cultural issue? And I really feel like the adults are lost, and education is one avenue that has to be pursued and defended, because, like, I feel like adults are too indoctrinated, and education is one of the means through which a cult like Trumpism can be countered. There's, other factors of social influence on children, but education is a huge one. So if the education they're getting is up to date with current science, that's going to play a huge role in how they develop. And teaching sex ed is a sin. I mean, like, exactly. Same shit. Like, sex ed should be just, like, that feels like common sense to me. But, yeah, Americans and Australians to an extent, in fact, a pretty similar extent, aren't interested in sex education. When really, what sex education should be doing is teaching kids and you're preparing them to, well, not prepared, but like making them aware, like, hey, you know, like this is the changes your body's going to go through. Always be safe, and also really importantly, being able to identify abusive and grooming behavior, because that's a problem that a lot of kids don't have the words to express what they've experienced, which they can get through sex ed. Just because you feel they cannot be reached doesn't mean that you simply shun them or silence them. Discourse was a primary tool used to implement civil rights for African Americans in the 60s. Yes and no. When I say, like, I feel they can't be reached, I mean, I feel like that's pretty defensible. I mean, conservatives will literally look at a peer-reviewed study and just say, no, it's leftist indoctrination, it's leftist infiltration, or infiltration of a different kind. No, I'm kind of inclined to disagree. I mean, I think they should be shunned and silenced. I mean, we're talking about, like, this shit kills children. Like, this is what we're talking about. This gets children killed. So, I don't want to even entertain a discussion with somebody who's going to look at empirically demonstrated evidence and just look away. This kind of stuff kills people. These kind of views cannot be tolerated in a civil society. There are pros and cons to everything. Liberal policies also have negative consequences. A lot less than conservative policies, really. Like, this is the thing. Australia needs to kick out its conservative government. So does the UK. America can't ever afford to let a Republican win again. Like, it's really time for us to acknowledge conservatism for the death cult, anti-liberty, anti-civil rights movement that it is, and obfuscate these people to the past. And one of the ways we're going to do that is through education. Children need to be taught how to think, not what to think. Children are not taught critical analysis skills. They aren't taught how to process and break down information. Sociology should be mandated in schools. What are you using to justify that statement that liberal policies have less of a consequence than conservatives? Because, like, when a conservative makes a policy, it looks like this. Show me the Democrat that introduced a policy like this. You know, when conservatives make policy, they make policy attacking civil rights. I mean, in Utah at the moment, there's, I don't know if it's the governor, but, like, I think there's a bill that's trying to be introduced which would ban pornography in the state. Or it would ban access to pornography. Like, if you have a phone in Utah, then you won't be able to get pornography. Or you won't be able, I think you have to, like, request access or something. Like, you won't just be able to immediately go into it. Like, that's an attack on freedom of speech. Conservatives don't give a fuck about civil liberties. They don't give a fuck about rights. When conservatives get into government, they cause demonstrable harm. They hate anybody that's not a man, that's not straight, that's not cis, and that's not white. They just, like, they just get in and cause harm. That's how I justify that. Fuck them. These people are a canker sore on our species, a leech on the throat of democracy, a chain around the neck of progress. I mean, look at this. Like, longtime aide to Representative Matt Gaetz resigns following multiple reports that the Florida congressman is being investigated for possible sex trafficking. Like, I'm not denying that there's not abusers and child molesters in the Democrats, but come on. These people project so much about pedophilia. Alright. Let me see. I am going to take a 2-minute bathroom break, and then we'll come back and watch some videos. Fun. If you're enjoying the stream so far, please consider subscribing, following me on YouTube and Twitch. I do prepared content over on the YouTube channel. There's also a link to a Discord server down below. And hey, there's also a link to Streamlabs. I would love for this to be a part-time job that I can at least earn a subsistence living on. So hey, if you've got a couple extra bucks lying around, feel free to chuck it my way. So, be right back. How can you justify complaining about conservatives not okay with freedom of speech? You claimed earlier that we should silence conservatives. Is that not removing their freedom of speech, which shows that you are presenting a double standard? I'm not saying we should remove their freedom of speech. I'm just saying that freedom of speech is not without consequence. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a good example. All the crazy shit that she said. Hey, she wasn't removed from her position, but she was removed from a bunch of committees. I mean, it comes down to platforming. Conservatives try to prevent people voting, but cry about gun legislation, talk about a double standard. I mean, I'm very pro-gun, but I'm also very pro-gun safety and pro-gun responsibility. There are pros and cons to both sides. I will admit the Republicans do it. Why are you willing to admit that with the Liberals? Where's the honesty? Wait, mate, I'm not a Liberal. Liberals suck. Liberals are lame. I'm a leftist. the true Chad ideology. See, conservatives, their brains are broke. A liberal brain is woke. Leftist brain is bespoke. Alright. Oh boy. Let's see. We have Abigail Schreier or Matt Walsh. Oh god. Liberals don't suck, and people who think so are either permanently online leftists or dipshit conservatives. I mean, liberals suck because, like, their idea of justice and reform is performative wokeness. Liberals are anti-gun, which is pretty cringe. Like, liberalism itself is not an ideology that can combat conservatism. Liberals are also pro-capitalism, which, that's kind of cringe. Like, I'm happy to have liberals part of the movement. I'm not saying I do not want to. What's the word? I can't think of the word. I don't want to push liberals away. I don't want them to feel like they're not welcome. But they need to understand that there is shortcomings with their ideology, and that liberalism is not sufficient in combating conservatism. Alright. Let's do Schreier. Matt Walsh will be worse. Oh man, oh no. From Prager University. Guest starring Abigail Schreier. Why Girls Become Boys. I think this is her second PragerU video. I don't know if she's... I think she's already done one. Anyway, let's get into it. That's... What? You're gonna have to give me a citation on that, because, like, just the fact that there's more trans women than trans men. But, what am I saying? Are you asking Schreier for facts? Jesus Christ, man. Come on. Be sensible. It's almost as if, A, we're becoming more accepting of people outside of cis-normativity, and B, due to research in the field, we're getting better at diagnosing people with gender dysphoria. It's almost as if our society's progressing. What a tragedy. Every ideology has shortcomings, and socialism has not and will not work in practice. Ooh! Mate, you're lucky we're in the middle of a video. Do you want to come on? Do you want to call in and talk about that after the video? What a fucking tragedy. And you know where a lot of that probably was found? There was tons of research into gender and sexuality in pre-Nazi Germany, and they burned all that shit. Imagine the progress we could have made today if the Nazis hadn't destroyed that research. Wow, they almost snuck that one past me. Severe discomfort in one's biological sex. No, it's discomfort in gender. Gender and sex, two different things. Sex is physiological characteristics of your body. Gender is socially constructed behavior, traits, and characteristics dependent on location, time, culture. Can't call lame mediocre. Well, join the Discord, and there is a channel that you can post in to set that up for later. But you're free to point to a socialist country that's successfully lasted more than 50 years. There's never been a socialist country. Oh no. Come on! This came out March 30 this year! Come on! You can't... Oh, come on. She's really going to reference the Lippmann study. Man, it's been debunked. It's bunk research. I swear to God, if she mentions rapid onset gender dysphoria... No, she didn't. Oh! Exactly. According to parents' reports. It's bunk data. They didn't study any trans people. They talked to parents. Not medical professionals. Not trans people. Parents. Who already had a bias to trans people. It's been debunked. It's been debunked to the point where Lippmann's come out and said, please stop using this study to justify bigotry. Oh. And PragerU had to bite their tongue on that one and say, parent reports. It's kind of hard to not at least be skeptic of an ideology that tries to stop our best way of getting progress, liberalism, by an alternative that has never worked in reality. Socialism is not anti-liberalism. Socialism is like liberalism plus. The best of liberalism, missing the worst. Oh, sorry, I didn't have the camera on. But I mean, you heard everything she said. That was the image. But anyway, I will reiterate. Where have I heard all of these talking points before? Find me the influencer that said that. All of your problems will go away. Find me them. Especially among trans kids that face rejection by their parents. What is typical gender dysphoria? Except they're not rushed. Oh, The amount of lies. I can't. I can't deal with the lies. No, like Shariah posted on Twitter the other day about people that walk into gender clinics and walk out with testosterone. Oh my god, I would honestly be like willing to bet that that has never happened before. That someone without any prior consultation has walked in and then first time walked out. Like it's at that point, like that level of disbelief where I just would not believe that that has ever happened before. And anyone that has had rushed consultation, isolated incidents. Again, like, ho, conservatives, what a surprise. You can't find a greater social trend towards your moral panic. Socialism is not anti-liberal, alright? Let me get through this video, alright? I'll talk about it after this video. It'll be a good palate cleanser. Oh, those two words. Well, that's a good thing that this isn't happening on some kind of broad social level, and only a few isolated incidents. No, we haven't. We've actually made it pretty hard. I mean, that's a lie. It's just straight up a lie. It's not. Like, I know, like, in Australia, you have to go to a psychologist and, like, you have to have, like, weeks of consultation, if not months, before you can even get close to hormone blockers, let alone testosterone. I mean, like, years of consultation, even, in some cases. Especially when it comes to children. Oh, why can't we see that? Hey, thanks for following. Got a dip. Justin, we were about to talk about socialism. Ooh, sounds like he's running scared. Thanks for following. We can talk about that some other time. Not true. And even if it was without parents' permission, I wouldn't care, as long as she's had the proper consultation. Because it shouldn't be up to the parents. If the parents are refusing to provide care for children, then yeah, the children should be taken from those parents' care. If a parent isn't willing to provide the necessary care that a child needs, if they're trans, then fuck the parent. As long as the child has gone through the proper consultation, then sure. I have no problem with they don't have their parents' permission. And they wouldn't walk out of testosterone. They would walk out with hormone blockers. But I don't think Abigail is going to make the distinction. Where? Bullshit. Without even the therapist to know, fuck off. I'm calling bullshit. Where? Show me. Any sources? Let's see. Shilling for PragerU. Amazon. The whole script? No sources. Okay, what a surprise. PragerU not posting its sources? What? It's normal to be confused about your gender. It's normal to go questioning, like, what am I? Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Am I somewhere in between? Am I neither? That's normal. This idea of, like, oh, I went down a transgender path and I made so many mistakes, I can't turn back now. Sorry. It's just not demonstrable. Really. Oh, yes. Parents are excellent at that. That's irrelevant to talks about trans kids. Good. True. Yes. Which corresponds with the current academic consensus. It won't make them confused or make them understand their gender better. Buy my book. Ah, yes. Oh my god, could you make reading that prompter any more obvious? In regards to that last bit, be the parent in the relationship. Yes, sure. If your child comes to you and says, I think I might be trans, just tell them no. It's silly. It's just a phase. We're not going to give you any kind of help or support. You'll grow out of it. Fucking ridiculous. These fucking people. Oh. And you know what? This is the result of Schreier's rhetoric. This is what people like her create. Speech has consequences. This kind of shit is comes from her rhetoric, her books, her misinformation, her lies. And this shit kills kids. I'm so over it. I'm so done with the idea that we can give any credence to conservatism, if we can give any legitimacy to conservative ideology. It kills people. It is killing people. It's killing children. It's killing black kids in poor American neighborhoods. It's killing trans kids. It's killing children in the third world with our inability, our unwillingness to address climate change and capitalism. And that this woman can just sit here completely unfazed, advocating for an ideology that kills children. Revolting. Disgusting. Oh man, and now we can't even talk about socialism, so I don't get that palate cleanser. I mean, I can sum it up, I suppose. So, socialism is anti-liberalism, like the ideals of liberalism, like egalitarianism, fraternity, justice, equality, the rule of law. Socialism loves all of that. Socialism is defined primarily by two key characteristics: the abolition of the commodity form and democratization of the workforce. The idea is more power is given to the individual through democracy. How is that an anti-liberal idea? If anything, that's a pro-liberal idea. If anything, that's more pro-liberal than liberalism. Oh, I don't want to do Matt Walsh. Oh. Alright. Oh, no. got to be pain. Oh. I want you all to know that no matter how much you suffer, I'm suffering worse. Matt Walsh, conservative, reacts to another transgender children's book. What a horror. And leftist suffers while watching conservative react. Come on, Matt. Play. Ah, I see. The shelves of Barnes & Noble lined with Antifa-style pamphlets. Well, Matt, you've never been to an Antifa rally. And I like the idea of indoctrination, because books haven't been indoctrinating children to cisnormativity for the last, forever. What a fucking horrible concept. What an Orwellian concept. It feels good to be yourself. My god, when will these gender fucking crazies end? Who's in Paris? Thanks for following. Hello, my blue blood middle class friend. I'm afraid I'm quite working class. I don't know what gave you the idea of blue blood. I mean, I do speak a little bit posh, but sometimes I'll slip very heavily into the Australian accent. Anyway, back to Matt Walsh complaining that it feels good to be yourself. Literally 1984. What an Orwellian concept. Being yourself, and not only being yourself, but feeling good about being yourself. What a horrible, revolting concept. Where will these crazy leftists stop? What next? Telling others that you feel good about being yourself? Alright. Feeling good about yourself is brainwashing. Let's do it, Matt. What do you mean? That's what towns look like. That's what cities look like. Hang on. This looks like a normal fucking suburb. What? Ah, there's too many ethnics. And what do you mean there's not enough white kids? White. Well, she might be Asian, but like, what? Oh, look, right there, another one. It looks like a regular community. Like, oh my god. How did we ever let conservatives get away with calling us snowflakes? No sound in YouTube. Oh, fuck, it is. Shit. I must have muted that earlier. Thank you for pointing that out. Wait a minute, did I just... Oh, fuck me. Did I just do that whole Schreier clip with no sound? Hang on. Okay. Very cool. Why didn't anyone tell me? Wow, very cool. Okay. You know what that means. No, I can't do it. I can't. I'm not going to watch the Shry clip again. Fuck me. There were people in chat. Why didn't they tell me? Oh my god. Oh. Okay. Well, We'll leave that for now. We're going with Matt Walsh.
Today, very exciting, we're going to read and review some more woke children's literature.
Alright, he complains about it being yourself, alright? You heard my commentary.
Kind of brainwashing is going on in this book. I feel like it's going to be pretty intense. All right, it begins. This is Ruthie. Now, you notice from the very beginning the politically correct assortment of people all over this page.
What a horrible concept.
They've got all the different races and ethnicities. Not a lot of white kids. I mean, the one white kid, there's got the white girl there, but she has blue hair. You're allowed to be white, but you have to dye your hair. You have to compensate by dyeing your hair pink or blue. Then we've got the child walking down, playing an acoustic guitar, why not? There's even an equitable and diverse assortment of modes of transportation. So there's the bus, the car, and for some reason, a unicycle. Because when do you, I mean, we all see that, right? You're driving down the road, a residential neighborhood, and there's just a girl on a unicycle.
It's a children's book. Like, you know why the guy with the guitar is there? Why the woman's on the unicycle? Because children's books are supposed to be engaging. Kids love that. It's not just like simple, like, here's the story. The whole point, like, it's a picture book. You sit there with your kid, and the kid gets excited about all the things in the story. Like, ooh, there's the man with the guitar. There's the woman on the unicycle. That's what children's books are supposed to be. Like, pff, why not? Why is this book not just plain white paper with black Times New Roman size 12 font? Why do we need artistical flourishes like men with guitars and women on unicycles? How is he so butthurt over a guitar?
In the bike lane. She's a transgender girl. That means when she was born, everyone thought she was a boy until she grew a little older, old enough to tell everyone that she's actually a girl. Everyone was right. Everyone was right the first time. Why? This is left out.
Sorry, they weren't. They weren't right.
Why did they think? I mean, these backwards Neanderthals, as Joe Biden would call them. Why did they think that, quote, she was a boy? Well,
because they judged her for sex. Sex isn't gender.
Because they made observations about her biological nature.
Incorrect
they made
ones.
Scientific observations, and that's how they came to the correct conclusion that he is actually a boy.
No, sorry, they judged off sex, not gender.
They leave that out of the book.
Yeah, they do because it's a children's book, and gender isn't sex.
Ruthie's gender identity, and we have to remember, gender identity is a fake concept. And I always have to remind you, if you didn't know this, I think it's really important for people to understand where these ideas came from. Every time you hear gender identity, remember, fake concept invented, not just an invented concept or a concept invented generally by the left. It's a concept pushed by the left, but it was invented originally by a guy named John Money, and he was the pedophilic, insane lunatic back in the mid-20th century. Who ran sexual experiments on children, including two brothers, twin boys, forcibly performing essentially a forcible sex change on one of them. And later both boys would go on to kill themselves. That's where it comes from. Nothing but misery and despair and horror. This is Ruthie's brother, Xavier. Xavier is a cisgender boy. That means when Xavier was born, everyone thought he was a boy. And as he grew older, turned out everyone was right. He is a boy. Boy is Xavier's gender identity. No, boy is his biological sex. Gender identity, not a thing. Biological sex is a thing. That's what he is. There are so many different...
oh my god. How is a grown man this ignorant of science? No, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Boy is a gender identity. Our understanding of gender comes from socially constructed behaviors, characteristics, traits dependent on time, location, and culture. For instance, men are just as capable as growing their hair long. Why do private schools insist that boys keep short hair? Almost as if there was no basis in biological sex, and that's simply gender construction. what's the name of that video? What, this one that we're looking at? This is Matt Walsh, conservative reacts to another transgender children's book.
Different ways to be a boy or a girl. Too many to fit in a book.
True.
But not everyone feels like either a boy or a girl.
Exactly.
Non-binary is a helpful word that can describe a kid who doesn't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. So you notice again the PC utopia on this page. You've got a bearded woman walking a dog with her lesbian lover. Then you've got a cross-dressing boy.
How do you know that's not just... Wait.
You've got a bearded woman.
How do you know it's not just a man of long hair? Like, fuck.
Walking a dog with her lesbian lover.
That looks more like... What, they're walking their cat? What is that? That's not a dog, that's a cat.
Then you've got a cross-dressing boy playing the trumpet. Why not? And then we've...
What if it's a girl? What if it's just a girl with short hair? What the fuck? Like, again, like, the whole... It's a children's book. It's a picture book. They're supposed to be colourful and exciting and engaging illustrations. They're supposed to be, like, filled with all sorts of imaginative things that the kids get excited that each time they read the book, they point to their favourite thing. Like, he has kids. Like, does he not read them storybooks with pictures? I like this guy. He sounds like Trevor from GTA. Same actor who played in Walking Dead. He doesn't sound anything like Trevor. Like, not every man with a deep voice sounds like Trevor. And Matt Walsh is a reprehensible human being, if you haven't been able to tell already.
Of course, we've got the two gay men pushing a stroller, one wearing a t-shirt that says #1 Dad. So if you're not getting the message yet, if you're not being hit over the head with the message enough yet, this hopefully will get the point across. But
if you're not getting the message, this is what a regular neighborhood looks like.
The real irony here is they say there are so many different ways to be a boy or a girl, right? Too many ways to fit in a book.
Very true.
Well, that's correct, but they are making it so that there are not so many ways to be a boy or a girl. They are the one, gender identity, left-wing gender theory. This is the rigid, constricting thing that
okay, I'm hearing it now. He does sound a little bit like Trevor.
defines boys and girls. Because it used to be that you could be a girl and still wear short hair if you want, and play rough and tumble sports, and play in the mud with toy trucks. And we would call you a tomboy. And we would say, that's a valid way to be a girl. That's fine. If you want to be a girl that way, you could be a girl that way. But now we've taken that away from girls, and we've said, well, if you act like that, you're probably a boy.
What do you mean?
So in the name of opening everything up and being open-minded, we've actually constricted it and made it so that there is one particular way to be a boy or a girl, and if you go outside of that, then you become the other gender.
What do you... No, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, we're literally deconstructing restrictive notions of gender, and you want to call that restrictive. Like, gender binary is very restrictive. You're either a boy or a girl. The whole point of this gender ideology's fear-mongering about is that people can be whatever. They could be a man, they could be a woman, they could be neither, they could be both. They could be trans-masc, they could be trans-femme. They could be agender. Like, you can be a boy that plays with dolls, or a girl that plays with trucks, and that doesn't matter whether or not you're trans. And Matt, don't talk shit. You and your people don't like it when girls act like boys. You gotta tell me what that link is. I can't just click random links.
Or other sex, rather. Alex is both a boy and a girl. No,
cool.
He's not. When Alex was born,
Well, you're just gonna... Wait, you're calling... I don't know. Alex might have been AFAB. Did you just... It seems like you misgendered Alex.
Everyone thought Alex was a girl, but Alex is...
It says it right there! Damn, he's owning himself. He can't keep up with his own ideology.
Both a boy and a girl. This is Alex's
fuck me.
identity. No, this is insane nonsense.
Yeah, sorry that you can't deal with it. Insane nonsense. Grown-ass man.
Both a boy and a girl. This is Alex's gender identity. No, this is insane nonsense, is what this is.
I agree. He does have some balls. You have to have a pretty hefty set of balls to deny science.
This is Alex's friend JJ. JJ is neither a boy nor a girl. Ever since JJ was very little, they never felt exactly like a boy or a girl. They just felt like themselves. What does that mean exactly?
What do you mean? It means exactly what it means. There's the gender construct of what we associate with being a boy, the gender construct of what we associate with being a girl, and they said, I feel like neither of those. There's some parts, but I don't feel like calling myself either a boy or a girl. They just want to be themselves. Why the fuck is that so hard to understand?
Never felt like a boy or a girl. How does he know what a boy or a girl feels like? What are you comparing it to? How do you know that your feelings are not what a boy feels like? How do you know that? Because you've never been the other thing, so you have nothing to compare it to.
What do you mean? Like, we have a super rigid gender binary. We have very clearly, this is what men are, this is what women are. A very clear construct about what we associate with the genders. That's how you know, you idiot. Fuck, whoops.
Today,
God, oh my god. God, he's so fucking dumb.
Feelings are not what a boy feels like. How do you know that? Because you've never been the other thing, so you have nothing to compare it to. This is just one of the logical problems.
This motherfucker, oh my god, 200,000 subscribers. Oh, and he's with the Daily Wire. Man, he's making bank off this shit. I need to make a leave the left video.
What was that? I'm thinking we'll probably not.
I mean, I would make a great turncoat. So I know all of the PragerU tactics and whatnot. I know exactly what notes to hit. However, unlike people like Candace Owens and the what's the new one? I can't remember her goddamn name. I covered her the other day. The woman whose Twitter handle is half black conservative. Unlike them, I actually have some integrity.
In this book, but I could be wrong. Alex and JJ are both non-binary. Just like there are many different ways to be a boy and a girl, there are many different ways to be non-binary. Too many to fit in a book. And even with all these possible ways to be, some kids don't feel any of the words they know fit them exactly right. There are a never-ending number of ways to be yourself in the world.
Very true.
These are ways to be confused. What we're talking about here are not ways for kids to be themselves, but the opposite of that.
No. You're confused, Matt Walsh. You see words like non-binary, and your pathetic conservative brain shuts down. Unironically, these fictional kids in this story are more confident in their identity than he is. They're not confused, you're confused. It's pretty simple. The book's called Being Yourself. Or it feels good to be yourself, that's it. Pretty simple, they're just being themselves.
These are ways for kids to be confused about themselves. This is not an identity. Non-binary is not an identity.
Yes, it is.
Anti-identity. It is a person.
It's just saying words at this point.
Refusing to accept who they are. It's a rejection of identity. It's not the acceptance, it's the rejection of identity. This is someone who either is refusing to accept who they are, or if it's a child who's been brainwashed into this, this is a child who's never been made to understand who he is. This is the deprivation of identity. Whether you feel like
what conservatism does to a motherfucker.
A boy, a girl, both or neither, or if you describe yourself another way, that is your gender identity. Your gender identity might match what people thought you were when you were born, or it might not. See, when you were born, you couldn't tell people who you were or how you felt. They looked at you and made a guess. Maybe they got it right, maybe they got it wrong. What a baby's body looks like when they're born can be a clue to what the baby's gender will be, but not always. No, see, it's not that as a baby you couldn't tell people who you were. It's that you didn't know who you were because you were a baby. And as a baby, you don't know anything. Babies don't understand anything about the world. Least of all do they understand what a boy or a girl is. So
wait, that's my argument. That's my position. Yes, that's true. And we impress gender upon them from birth. Even like, it's even theorized before birth. It's even theorized that gender is impressed upon children while they're still in the womb. They have no concept of boy and girl. And it's impressed upon them since they're born.
What I can say from my experience, looking down at a cute little 3-month-old baby, if you're wondering, how do they feel about their gender? What are they thinking about their own gender? They're not thinking about it at all. What they're thinking about is they want to get fed, they have to poop, they want to take a nap. Those are all the things they're thinking about. And really
that's my argument.
Nothing else. They have no concept of their own, quote, gender.
Yeah.
Because they're babies.
Yes.
This is something that children...
And then you force it on them.
They have to be educated about this. And that's why when you get to a 4-year-old who says, I'm not a boy, I'm actually a girl. But one of the ways that we know that that's not true, aside from the fact that it simply doesn't make sense, is that they don't know what they're talking about. That boy doesn't know.
No, that's false. Children that young are perfectly capable of acknowledging gender and acknowledging that they might not be the gender they're assigned at birth.
The girl is. And that seems like a pretty significant problem. When someone is making a declaration about who they are and they don't know. When people guess wrong, it's okay to let them know. Ruthie was 5 when she told her parents. And a little speech bubble says, I know you think I'm a boy, but really I feel like a girl. Oops, Ruthie was a girl all along. They just didn't know it at first. And so the family quickly accepts it. This is what the left wants you to do. Your 5-year-old, how old?
This is what the left wants you to do. Just hug and love your child. Yeah. What a fucking horrible concept. Loving your child. Oh my god. What a hate-filled man. What a horrible little hate-filled man.
And so the family quickly accepts it.
They're just having a hug!
Your 5-year-old, how old is this kid? Your 5-year-old comes up to you and says, hey, I know you think I'm a boy, but actually turns out I'm a girl. And they want you to say on the spot, well, okay then, you're a girl.
No.
No questions asked.
No.
We're not going to even ask the
No one says that.
Follow-up question of, what do you mean by that, child? You said
what? Hey, Daddy, I think I might be a boy. What do you mean by that, child? What? What a fucking psycho. What a sociopath. Like I say that, like he is out here advocating for an ideology that kills children. What a fucking psycho. What do you mean, child? If I had a child and it came to me at 5 and said, I think I might be a boy or I think I might be a girl, like, I'd ask them, like, how they feel, but, like, what do you mean by that, child? Oh, to think this guy has kids.
You're a girl. What do you mean? That seems like a pretty important follow-up, doesn't it? Anytime your child is saying anything to you, you should try to understand what they mean. And it's not always clear what they mean because they don't have the words to express. They understand very little about the world. They understand very little about themselves and what they want and what's best for them.
Not when it comes to
they
gender.
They don't have the words to express. That's why kids do a lot of screaming and crying and they throw temper tantrums because they can't express what they actually want. And that's why it's really important, even when your kid is clear and says, I want this, it's important for you as the adult in the situation to understand why they're actually saying that. That to me seems like an important follow-up. I'm a girl. What do you mean? What do you mean you're a girl? Ask that question, and what you're going to find out is what the boy is actually saying is that he wants to wear a pink shirt because he thinks pink is a pretty color. Fine, wear the pink shirt. You're still not a girl, though. When people...
What if he wants to wear a pink dress, though? Yeah. If your child's questioning their identity, it might be a good idea to take them to a child psychologist and maybe just talk about it. Hey, what's on your mind? What's going through your head? Oh, fuck.
People guess right, it's also okay to let them know. Xavier was 3.5 when he told his family, "I'm a boy. I like being a boy." Yes, I'll never forget the day that my child announced to me that he is himself. Dad, turns out I'm myself. Whew. Good, I wasn't sure. Your feelings about your...
I mean, I know I've done that. Like if a parent's mentioned my gender identity, like, sure, I've affirmed that. What? It's when children don't affirm that, when they're instead conflicted, when you impress identity upon them.
Gender are real. Listen to your heart. No matter what your gender identity is, you're okay exactly the way you are, and you are loved. It feels good to be yourself, doesn't it?
What a wholesome story. And this hate-filled, wretched husk of a man is out here like, this is disgusting. This is leftist indoctrination. These leftists out here trying to get our kids to love themselves. Oh my God, he probably comes in like 2 seconds. What a horrible, hate-filled man.
Yeah, your feelings about your gender are real. But that doesn't mean that they reflect reality. Okay, that's the distinction that so many people struggle with.
Oh my
Your
God,
feelings are real.
The projection is so real, my friend. You're the one struggling with these ideas.
You really do feel this way. That doesn't mean that it is an accurate reflection of what is. That's the point.
That's where you're wrong.
And that is what is not covered in this book, and what I wouldn't expect to be covered, because all you get here is indoctrination and brainwashing. And that's why this book, and so many books like it, are poison. What I would say is, I'm not into banning books. I'm not into burning books. But if we're going to ban and cancel books, how about a book like this?
I remind everyone that the book is called It Feels Good to Be Yourself. Okay. What a pathetic little beta bitch. Feels good to be yourself. What a horrible concept. Disgusting left-wing indoctrination. Trying to get our children to feel good about who they are. Revolting. Oh my God. Oh, Matt Walsh, what the fuck? Oh, it makes it even worse that there's so many people following him. So many people. He makes so much money off this shit. I was a tomboy as a child. I loved playing in the dirt. I liked traditionally boy toys, hated pink, and hated dolls. I'm 29 years old now, and I'm pretty much traditionally feminine with a husband and son. I'm so glad no one ever tried to brainwash me into thinking I was a boy, because I liked boy toys as a child. The world has gotten so screwed. No one said that you had to be a boy if you play with boy toys. If you play with boy toys and said to your parents, "Hey, I'm a boy," you might be a boy. It's the rejection of your identity, not the acceptance of it. You hit the nail on the head, Matt. Oh my fucking God. Be yourself by pretending to be someone else. Who are they? Who are they pretending to be? I literally laughed so hard when Matt deadpan said into the camera and said, "You don't know who you were because you were a baby, and as a baby you don't know anything." What? You laughed? This, like, husk of a man. This man with, like, these eyes that are just dead. Like, can I find a frame where his eyes don't look hollow? Nope, apparently not. He just looks like this horrible, hollow husk of a man. He's a little bit animated there. You laughed at that? Jesus fuck. Oh. And that's the thing. When I talk about conservatives being unreasonable, and that we need to obfuscate conservatism to obscurity. It's kind of shit I'm talking about. It's Matt Walsh and his rhetoric gets children killed. It is a harm to progress. Well, that was about everything I had for us today. I don't know. Unless someone has some hot takes they want to throw out. It's about everything. Yeah. So yeah, that was a stream about trans stuff. But our trans people are still very much under threat. As appropriate, given this week was Transgender Day of Visibility, so I don't think I did anything on the... No, I didn't do anything trans-related on the day. But hey, it makes up for it. So yeah, I'm Louis Vuitton. You can follow me on YouTube and Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord in the link down below. And hey, there is a link to Streamlabs down there as well, if you have some extra money lying around. Who's live right now? RGR's live. She's playing Elder Scrolls though. No one else is live. Alright, well I'll just hit you with the outro music instead. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm Louis Vuitton. I'll be streaming again tonight. And probably tomorrow. Thank you all for stopping by. Trans rights, trans thriving.